Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be doing an extruder soap using some 3D printed star discs that I've made. So here you'll see me putting in some white soap clay. Now soap clay is a very interesting recipe. So essentially soap clay can be made with any slow trace recipe. So you'll remember a few weeks ago we did a slow trace recipe for doing a gradient soap. In this recipe, I've used what was left over of that, popped it into a bag so that none of the moisture could escape, then pop that into a second bag, and you basically get soap dough. So if you do wish to make soap dough, you can do it very easily just by using soap that you've already made, but just not allowing it to get fully cured, and you can basically do this with it. So what I've got here is a little extruder, and I'm going to extrude a few different sizes of stars, and these are going to run right the way through our soap. For me, I prefer a soap that has the decoration or the pattern or the design running right the way through it. Sometimes you can't achieve that, but for the most part, I do try and do soaps that have this pattern going all the way through, which means that right down to the last little bit of soap, you do get that pattern coming through. So where we can use extruder discs and make long embeds, the better for me. Sometimes you just need to use a stamp or you need to paint on the surface. That's fine. But I do think that it's important you kind of try to get a design all the way through the soap so that when it's used down to the last little sliver, it still has that design running all the way through it. And so, I mean, this is basically extruding soap. But what you want to try and do is make sure that you are getting as straight and long a piece as possible. You can see that I'm actually extruding this onto a piece of Perspex, so I can move it around without disturbing the extrusions too much. And then what you want to do is you want to just leave them out to go hard over the next kind of, say, couple of hours. They will firm up quite quickly. But the idea being is that once they're firmed up, they'll actually then be able to kind of sit in a mould a lot easier. I actually like to try and suspend mine in a mould, particularly the acrylic moulds that I've got, so that they stay where they are. So as I pour soap in, the soap kind of envelops them rather than me pushing through designs and getting kind of a markings of something going through the soap. I like the soap to kind of envelop the stars and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to try and attempt here. And we're just extruding 3 different sizes, ready to go. We're going to do an ombre pour from a blue into a black. We're going to pipe the top, hopefully using some of the leftover batter that we've got. And we've got embeds going through it. Now the embeds are already done. So these were extruded, so you can see there we've got like a star shape going on, and these are going to go in. But because we need to do this as an ombre, we actually just need to use a slow trace, a slow moving batter. Now for a slow moving batter, there's a couple of things you need to bear in mind. You want to avoid butters or any oils that will speed up trace. And I'll leave a list of those in the description. You also want to use a slightly higher water content, so you've got a bit more water going on in there, okay? And you want to just bring it to emulsion, so you've got plenty of time to work with it over the course of this pour. And then when it comes to doing the piping, you're going to have to just wait for this to set up over that time, and it will come to a piping consistency. You do not need a separate piping recipe for most soaps that you're going to make. Only if they're very, very fast moving and you need to get it into the mould, that's fine, and then you'd need to make another batch of slightly slower moving soap to come up to trace so you can pipe it, but you don't need a separate piping recipe. Any soap can be piped. So this is my main batter. I've got a mixture of kind of blues in here that I'm going to add in there, and I'm just going to give those a little quick swizz in my and I've got a black here which we're going to colour the majority of the soap with, and that will give us our colour change. So pop a stick blender into there. I've got my lye solution ready to go here. Now the lye solution has got sugar and some sodium lactate in it, just to help with the unmoulding process at the end, and the sugar will give us some more bubble on this one. So that's our lye solution in, and then we'll just very quickly so we just want to bring this to an emulsion, and you will see there that it's kind of got a nice kind of creamy colour. This will always happen with my slow trace recipe, but it will actually become a beautiful white colour when it goes through saponification. If you want this to be a lovely white colour, you don't want to C-pop. C-pop will actually make a white colour more cream, whereas if you just allow this one to, as a white colour, if you allow it to come through saponification on the side without too much, and not allowing it to go through gel, it will be whiter than if you allow it to go through saponification as a C-pop. And C-pop means cold process, oven process. So what I'm going to do is pour off a relatively good amount of that one, because we need enough to pour. Use the emulsion. And then into this one we're going to put our blue, and I like making my colours up beforehand, and then you can literally just do that. So you can see how that beautiful blue has come through. So we're going to have this midnight blue progressively getting darker into the black, and then whatever's left over we will pipe. So here is my other colour. Let's bring that into view a little bit more, and here's our black. And there we have that beautiful black colour. And again, notice how they've both stirred through very quickly and very efficiently. Bringing my mould here now, I'm using acrylic mould because you get a beautiful size off of these, but you do need to freeze these in order to get the soap out properly. I popped one of my stars in, which was my biggest one, and then we'll worry about the other ones a little bit later. And to do an ombre, what you're going to do is just pour your soap along the edge of your mould like that. Okay, then taking a little bit of your darker colour, you pop that in, give it a stir, and continue that process until you've made up as much of your soap as possible. Now you can be very, very precise about this and add exactly the same amount of colour each time, but I don't necessarily think you need to do that. I think you can kind of eyeball it relatively well. The more colour you add, the more step of colour you'll see coming through the actual design itself. You can just see that colour getting progressively more and more dark. We're starting to encompass that star there. A bit more into our lovely blue. You can just see how that's getting kind of progressively more and more dark as we go along. Just love that. And I don't think when it comes to kind of doing like dark scenes you have to worry too much about the colours in it. So a nighttime can be all sorts of colours, but I kind of quite like this subtle darkness going from a light blue into a black. And don't forget that most evening skies will actually be lighter at the bottom than they are at the top. That one there. With the rest of our black in, once you turn this a really nice dark colour. And we now need to just kind of let both of these come up to the right texture so that we can start piping this black eventually. We'll give that a little bit of a stir. And let's just run. I'm doing a very subtle pipe on this, so I don't need to have too much. So we're going to leave that little bit of piping left there. Now you have to be very careful when you move these, because this is liquid. It is obviously going to shift around a little bit. So we move it off and just very, very gently bring it up. So that will be plenty in there. I'm just going to move this out of the way. What I am going to do is take some of my additional stars and just place them in here. It's a little bit long, I think. Give that a little trim, a little bit more. Yes, I could measure, but where's the fun in that? So put that into there. Push those in. You tend to have larger stars at the bottom, a bit closer to you, and then you have other stars slightly further away. I think we're going to pop this one in here as well. These are going to be piped on. So one over there. I think that will do us. Less is sometimes more with these things. I think we're just going to give this one a little bit of a depth, just a smidge. So we've got a few stars going on in there. And then what I will do is then have these kind of in the top. So as you cut through the frosting, you will get some stars coming in through there as well. So all we now need to do is wait for these things to set up. So as soon as this is ready, I'll show you the texture and I'll show you what we do next. So come back in a little while. So unfortunately the footage for piping this didn't work. So unfortunately I haven't got the piping of that, but here is exactly the same process on a slightly different soap. You may have seen this one already, but what you can see here is that I've got a really nice consistency of my batter. It's like thick whipped cream. It's holding itself, and that's what you really want from your batter. Okay, I've got it in a nice piping bag here, squeeze the top, and you can see here that it's not sliding out because I've let it come to this stage. I've got lots of working time, and all I'm going to do in the top is just dot it in like that. Squeeze, let the squeeze go and pull up. Squeeze, let the squeeze go and pull up. Squeeze, let the squeeze go, pull up. And all I'm doing is adding dots like this all the way down the soap using my piping bag, which uses up the rest of the black soap. And that is essentially how you pipe the top of a soap. And you can then build this up or take it down as much or as little as you want. So let's get into cutting this. You can see on the top there it's got this kind of iridescentness. That's just a glitter mica with some iridescence running through it, and you get this beautiful kind of like peacocky blue. There is glitter on there, but it's a biodegradable glitter, and it doesn't show up very well on camera, but I can assure you it's nice and shiny in person. So there we go, a nice close-up of it there. And let's get our first slice out here. So I'm hoping we're going to get a nice kind of breadth of stars through there, through this beautiful gradient sky. Ping it goes, and then let's have a quick look here. Look at that, yay! So we're getting a little bit of scrape there, if you can see, from the glitter. So we're just going to have to turn it on its side. But we've got stars running throughout. They're nicely spaced. That one I kind of propped in the middle is working, so I'm really pleased with that one. And let's go for another cut in here. That was our knobby end, so we want to try and get a nicer cut on this one. So through we go again. And let's have a look at that. And I might get one of these in screen, in shot. But you can see you've got that beautiful kind of gradient there. But as you can see, because I've stepped so harshly with the colours, you can see the colours coming through, but I kind of quite like that. It gives you kind of this wispy, cloudy evening. So I'm going to turn it on its side, and you'll see by doing that, we remove those kind of drag marks through the soap. So do that one there, and you should see in this one, and get it apart, that we reduced that kind of cutting through. So you can see just how lovely that is. Nice gradient, really nice starry night sky, beautiful kind of looking soap. Great for a masculine fragrance, or for a more kind of masculine fragrance, but it would be really nice for like a an evening jasmine or something like that. There's loads of things you can do with this soap. I've kept this one unfragranced because I prefer an unfragranced bar in the shower every day, because I can use deodorants and stuff like that. I don't want too much clashing, and I like an unfragranced bar. So that's that soap there, and I'm really, really pleased with how that one came out. And so here is the soap in all of its glory. You can see there are all the stars running through it, and that beautiful kind of sparkly top. Really pleased with this one. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me grow, and that helps me make more videos for all of you. If you subscribe, why not click the bell icon to get notified when a video is uploaded? And until next time, soapsters, I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.